Christ alone, my hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song. This cornerstone, this solid ground, firm through the fiercest drought and storm. What heights of love, what depths of peace, when fears are stilled, when striving cease. My comforter, my all in all, here in the love of Christ I stand.
Greetings from my bed, everyone. Welcome to Pregnancy Week 12. I'm Amanda with Eat, Pray, Crunch, and thanks for tuning in if you haven't tuned in before. I am doing a pregnancy series on my pregnancy with our second child. So anyway, let's dig right into week 12. So before I say anything else, I just need to give a shout out to several people in my life. First and foremost, my amazing husband, Bill. Since I have been on bed rest for 2 weeks now, he has taken on not only his own responsibility of work and all of his other normal responsibilities, he has also taken on many of mine as well. He has done almost all of our shopping and almost all of our laundry, and oh my gosh, and my eyes are even a little bit red right now because just before I filmed this, he came in and he gave me this card and it's a belated anniversary card. I know I talked about our anniversary getaway the other day, and we had just kind of agreed, like, well, we don't have to do anything special other than, cards or gifts or anything other than just doing our little getaway, and we agreed that we would like bake something together since for the 4th anniversary, fruit is the like traditional gift or whatever. So since we have a lot of fruit growing in our backyard on trees and we have blackberries and whatnot, we were going to just make a cobbler together or something. So but tonight he came in and he gave me this amazing card, and I bust out crying because it was so sweet, and it just like touched my soul. It just meant the world to me. He just had an incredibly sweet little message, and talking about a little what we've been going through, and just very sweet. And I love you, Bill. You're amazing. And I also have to give a shout out to our amazing parents. They have basically taken over the job of watching Alex these last 2 weeks, since I have been unable to lift him and do a whole lot with him. I can't even imagine what I would do if I didn't have the supportive family around. Seriously, I cannot imagine. I was talking to Bill about it, like, what would we have done if we didn't have such a supportive family nearby? Seriously, what would we have done? But we probably would have just had to carry on as normal, and I wouldn't be able to do the bed rest, and that probably would have increased chances of miscarriage and all that. So anyway, I am beyond grateful for our family and our friends too. I have had a couple of my friends come to visit me the last couple weeks since this started, and and they have cooked food, they have helped with Alex when they're over, and just provided some wonderful girl time for me, which has been so nice, since it's, being in bed all day is pretty isolating sometimes, and you're connected online and Facebook and everything, and that definitely helps. I definitely have the company of family around too, and that's fantastic. But there's just something really special about having that girl time, that girl bonding time, to just like get together and talk about what's going on in our lives and support each other and everything. And I am just so thankful for my friends as well. I have amazing people in my life, what can I say? So if you guys are watching, you know who you are. Thank you, I love you guys. On that note, I wanted to tell you guys that I had my ultrasound today, and as you can see in my intro, I gave you a little glimpse into that ultrasound. It was my 13-week ultrasound. Actually, I'm 13 weeks tomorrow, so then looking back on 12 weeks for this vlog today. That ultrasound had been planned even before this whole hemorrhage thing happened. So, you know, we were planning to have that done. It's like the nuchal translucency test, they call it, and it measures the thickness of the baby's neck, and like the spine and their spinal cord. And it basically is a very strong indicator towards or against Down syndrome. So if it's thick, then that's an indicator of possible Down syndrome. If it's thin, then that's normal. Anyway, so we went in for that test today, and they took a look at baby's neck, and everything was beautiful and normal. The tech was saying, "Oh, it's the most beautiful neck I've seen all day." And it was just, once again, like just like it was when we were in the emergency room seeing the ultrasound, just seeing baby in there is just, oh, I almost started crying. I don't get emotional in front of people I don't know, but like I had to, like, you know, swallow my pride and not cry, just seeing the beautiful sight of baby on the screen. It's gotten so big, even just since my ultrasound in the ER 2 weeks, or I guess it was a week and a half ago, or whatever now it's been. But I was just amazed how much baby had grown just in that time, and how everything was there, everything was accounted for. They looked at every little body. It wasn't a full anatomy scan, but they, you know, they do a general scan to make sure, you know, all the limbs and fingers and toes and heart is beating, and, you know, stomach, bladder, looking at the spine, brain, all of that was there and accounted for. And just our little he or she in there looked so beautiful and healthy and strong, and that was just, it was just a beautiful sight to behold, considering everything that we've been going through and worrying about. So it was just a real blessing to see that today. And of course, the other reason for our ultrasound today was to have them look at the hemorrhage, or the hematoma that I had, or have, and sure enough, it was still there. And that was the downside, was it was still there, and it didn't really look like it had shrunk much. I don't know if it grew or not. It's kind of hard to tell. The doctor was saying it was kind of like measuring a cloud. It's, you know, because it's like mushy and gushy in there. It's kind of gross, but like it's moving around, and it's hard to get an exact measurement. But it was still there. And we had the doctor, there was like a perinatologist who came to talk to us about the results afterward, and he was great practitioner, excellent bedside manner, explained things really well. He basically said that, you know, he's seen a lot of these before. You know, this was a maternal fetal medicine center, so it's basically a center made for high-risk pregnant mothers. So he sees all of that stuff, and he's seen this many times over, and to every single degree too. So he described my hematoma as moderately sized. So, I mean, it's not huge, but it's not small either. So we asked him, you know, what is, you know, we needed some just like direct, solid advice for what exact activities I can and cannot do, and for how long I need to sustain that for. And basically he agreed with what my midwife said, and that, you know, there isn't anything showing that doing strict bed rest helps. I mean, like strict true bed rest where you like can't even get out of bed. I mean, only to pee can you get out of bed. Thankfully, I don't have to do strict bed rest, and everyone seems to agree that, you know, doing it that strict is not necessary. It's still okay for me to do like a modified bed rest and get around the house and, you know, do light activity, but emphasize light activity. So I still have to basically do pelvic rest. You can look that up if you don't know what that means. And I still have to be careful with how much I lift. So that means I will continue to have to probably get help with Alex. Although I have also been modifying our house a little bit so that I don't have to lift him so much. For example, like we normally cloth diaper, but since I can't, you know, lug the load of diapers to the wash and wash them and, you know, do that kind of thing right now, we've just decided to go with disposables until this whole ordeal passes. So I created a changing station for Alex downstairs, since his play area is downstairs. So I just, you know, put a stash of diapers and wipes down there, and his little potty seat. I've been just doing little things like that to so that I can still care for him without having to lift him very much. So, and also he's not quite walking yet, but he will assisted, like you just hold one hand and he'll walk. So instead of carrying him places, I'm encouraging him to do a lot more walking. So I'm finding ways to modify my lifestyle so I won't have to lift him too much, and I can still care for him when I don't have the help, which will happen now and then in the next 5 weeks. Yeah, so 5 weeks is what the doctor said is how long I have to do this for. At which point at 18 weeks they will do another ultrasound and see how it's doing, and they'll also do another at 22 weeks. They say usually in cases like this, these things will clear up by 20 weeks or so. So that's the plan. We're just going to continue with the modified bed rest, and I'll be listening to my body, and, you know, like the doctor advised, if I feel like if I'm overdoing it, then I need to go lie down. So I'm really just trying to be in tune with my body. So anyway, that's where we're at with the bed rest. Needless to say, even though we're so thankful we have so much help and everything, me being on bed rest has definitely been a stress for our family, since, you know, I'm not able to do most of the things I normally do, like, you know, dishes, laundry, obviously almost all of the care of Alex, and I usually do most of the shopping. A lot of the traditional housewife roles, things that I do, I haven't been able to do, so that has really put a stressor on things. And like I said, I'm so thankful that Bill and my family and my friends have just really stepped up and been so helpful with all of those things. But it is an extra burden on everyone. Just, you know, like I've said, it's psychologically, it's a little difficult for me sometimes, just being like cooped up lying down a lot of the time. I mean, I do, you know, go interact with whoever's here most of the time, and I'll even just go like lounge outside when I really need some fresh air, and that really helps. I think that we're all going to be glad when we can just get back to normal, and everybody will be a little less stressed that way. But I worry a little bit about Alex too. I had a moment the other night. Sometimes I actually will rock him to sleep. We have a little rocking routine before he goes to sleep, and we sing a song and everything. You know, I wasn't doing it for a few days because I didn't want to lift him into the crib, and then Bill and I were talking, and you know, because there was one night when Alex was just so upset, and I had this mother's instinct that like he just needed mom, and it was just breaking my heart, and he was crying. And so I talked to Bill, and we had this idea. Okay, I'll go into his room, and Bill will put him in my lap, and I will rock him and sing to him and do the routine we normally do. And then when we're done, I had my phone with me, and I just texted Bill to come upstairs and put him in the crib. And that night, that was just like exactly what he needed. He just really needed that mama time. And it broke my heart that I can't give that to him all the time when he needs it now. And I know he'll survive. Like, he's a really independent kid. You know, he's really good at, you know, playing by himself and everything. But he's also a very affectionate little guy. And so that's been hard for me too, just not being able to spend that time with him and cuddle him as much as I want to. Anyway, so it's been a little bit difficult. The other thing is there's, you know, I mentioned it's a little bit isolating and kind of boring sometimes. But I have been finding ways to keep myself occupied for sure. You probably saw that I uploaded our garden video this last week, and that was actually something that we had filmed last month, and I just hadn't had the time to edit and put that together. So being in bed, I have time to do that kind of thing now, so I was really happy to get that up. So maybe I'll get a few extra videos uploaded here and there as well. I mean, even though it has been difficult, like, the silver lining of all of this is, like, I kind of feel like I've had this little vacation from life. I feel it's like suddenly I don't have very much responsibility. I mean, obviously I do, and it takes a lot of restraint to stay in bed and not do things and whatnot, but in a way that's also really nice because I feel like I have caught up on my rest and sleep for the first time since before Alex was born. So that's been nice. So I'll take that as silver lining, you know. Sometimes life forces you to rest, you know, when things get really busy, and sometimes there's just things like this that just bring you to a dead halt and force you to slow down and rest and just contemplate life a little bit. For that, I am thankful because I feel like it has been restorative for my soul, you know, to just have some downtime, because I really haven't had very much downtime. I mean, like real, like an extended period of downtime since before I became a mother. So that's been nice, and I've also just been able to catch up on things and like do some things that I normally wouldn't do, like for example, you know, reading on Facebook, oftentimes I just like gloss over a lot of things that like I would normally like to read, but I just don't have time to read, like interesting articles that people post and whatnot. So like right now I'm reading all of them because I have time, and so it's really kind of refreshing to just like sit and read stuff and just like learn some new things. And so that's, you know, kind of a nice little silver lining. I've also just been taking the time to catch up on my shows. We don't really have cable, so we just watch things like a season late through Netflix or Amazon Prime. And so lately my guilty pleasure has been watching TLC's 19 Kids and Counting. Bill rolls his eyes when I watch that show because, you know, they definitely have some quirky beliefs about things, and definitely there are a few ultra-conservative things that, you know, neither of us are big fans of. But the thing that I love about that show is just that, like, this family has so much love, and they have such a strong faith. They have the kids so organized, and they are all so well behaved, and they all seem like they're being raised into these genuine, loving, Christ-like people. And so I just enjoy watching it and just seeing how they make it work and everything. In that sense, I think it's, you know, their lives are kind of like a ministry to the world, and I appreciate that aspect of it, even though they have some kooky stuff going on too. But anyway, that's been my guilty pleasure, catching up on my shows lately. I've also had time to like research things. Since we moved into our new house here in June, you know, we left our beloved old church. It was just a little too far for us to go, but we really missed that church community, and we really haven't been going to church at all since we moved, and then especially since I got pregnant and was feeling sick and tired all the time, and then this whole thing. And just hadn't really had the time to research and church shop. But I've had time now, so that's been really nice. This last weekend I did some very thorough church shopping online, and just really trying to find, you know, a few church candidates that would, you know, be a really good fit for us. So that's been nice too. I feel like I've come up with a nice short list of churches now that we can go visit, that Bill and I are both excited about. So it's nice that I've had the time to do that. As you know, we're a pretty crunchy family, and Bill and I both drive very small, fuel-efficient cars. We both drive little Honda Civics, And but now that our family is growing, we're basically maxed out with using a Civic. So the other thing I've been researching is family cars. So we're trying to figure out what we want to do for that. It's definitely going to have to be bigger. I mean, we do maybe want to have a third child. We don't know for sure after all this, but I mean, time will tell. If we have a third child, we want to have a car that will accommodate that down the road. I've been doing a lot of research on like minivan versus SUV versus station wagon and, you know, all those family cars. And since we're thinking 3 kids, we probably are going to need a slightly bigger car. We're just going to have to get over the fact that we're not going to be able to drive little tiny fuel efficient cars anymore. It's just kind of where we are in life. I'm not above buying a minivan. I know that there's like this stigma with getting minivans. It's like, oh, it's oh so unsexy or whatever, but like honestly, that I don't care. But Bill does. So we also have a truck that most of the time we don't even use it. We just use it when it snows because it has 4-wheel drive and when we need to haul things. So he's thinking more SUV because they're better. I mean, they're built on truck beds, so it's good for hauling things. So we're thinking we might lean towards SUV, then we can sell his car and his truck, and then he'll just commute in my old car, and then I get to drive the family car. And we could, you know, use that for hauling things as well, just get a little trailer hitch or whatever. So anyway, so if you guys have any good recommendations for family cars that are not like total complete gas guzzlers, that are decent, but that are good for seating potentially 3 kids and have like 4-wheel drive because he wants to take the kids up into the mountains to cut a Christmas tree and, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, so if you guys have any good suggestions for family cars, leave a comment below. I'd love to know what your experience is with all that. Anyway, so it's been nice that I've been able to like catch up on, like, do all these things that I never had time to do before. That's definitely been the silver lining. But even though it has been difficult on everyone nonetheless. And I've just done a lot of praying and reflecting through this whole process. I feel like it never fails that difficult life circumstances always bring us closer to God. It's just always been my experience. I remember we were in a small group one time and we were talking about this very thing, that if you're going through a phase in your life when you're feeling distant from God, and like wondering where God is. I don't know how much God creates these circumstances in our lives. I'm not sure that I believe that God creates good versus bad circumstances in our lives. What I do believe is that God uses those circumstances though, and it never fails that when we are faced with difficult circumstances, God always makes his presence very well known through those circumstances and guides us through that and kind of shapes us through those circumstances. So even if he's not causing those circumstances, he uses them to shape us. And I feel like this has been no exception to that. This was something that we went through when we were struggling with infertility, you know, the spiritual side of it, and it feels familiar to that right now. Just like the fear of, you know, we had the struggle of infertility and then 2 losses and then like this big scare. It definitely has shaken us spiritually just a little bit. I really feel like it's bringing me back again, because these circumstances remind us of like just how little control we really have in life, you know? Like, you can do all the right things, like you can have a healthy lifestyle and you can, you know, do what you can to have healthy relationships and yada yada yada, but ultimately there are always going to be things that we have 0 control over, and these circumstances are always a reminder of that. In this circumstance, I can do my bed rest and that's about it, and all we can do is rely on God for the rest of it, and just reminds us that, you know what, we can't control the outcome of this situation, and we really just have to trust, and it's a difficult thing to do. But in that, I also feel like these last couple weeks I've been feeling much closer to God through it. So for that, I am thankful. And along those lines, occasionally I have a song that will, I mean, sometimes it's like a spiritual song, sometimes it's like, you know, nothing that's like directly related to spirituality, but it will speak to me that way. But sometimes there would just be one that like hits me at a particular time. I almost feel like it's a God thing, like God will give me a song for whatever circumstance that I need right then. And this last week or two, that song has been the song In Christ Alone. It's kind of a modern hymn. The lyrics are just so beautiful. Those particular parts of the song have just been going through my head, and I feel like those words and just us praying and just feeling the prayers of everybody around us, I have just really felt an incredible peace, especially the last week. And I really thank God for that, for like really bringing me back. And this is one of those circumstances that is bringing me back. So anyway guys, that's it for week 12. For the belly shot this week, I actually had my mom take a picture of me outside earlier today, and I used that picture actually to make our Facebook announcement, our official Facebook announcement to all of our friends and family, so it's all Facebook official now. That's been great. We've had such amazing response from all of our family and friends, so it's always fun to do that announcement. Anyway, while I was out there, I just decided to do the 12-week belly shot for today, so I will put that right here. Alright guys, here's the belly shot for 12 weeks. We were just doing a little photo shoot outside to make my Facebook announcement anyway, so I thought I'd do the belly shot outside. So here it is from the front and the side. It's getting bigger. And the other side. So that's it. Thanks for watching guys, and subscribe if you haven't already, and click the thumbs up button, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, bye!